Hangzhou will go very slow on its approaches. They'll allow Guangzhou to take the high ground. I don't know if they... Yeah, they must have spotted Eileen on the Doomfist here, so they didn't want to walk directly at him, as this would be a death trap for him.
I mean, Doomfist we don't really see get a ton of play in Overwatch League right now. He really kind of like goes in and out of the meta. He's really strong, then he's really weak, then he's really strong. Right now, I feel like he's probably in his best state of balance that we've ever seen. It's Eileen with a kick kill there on a Guangzhou. So you see what Doomfist can excel at. Get in, get out, pick up those kills.
In the meantime, they're losing Rio, not ideal for the charge, but they had better positioning, so they were able to drop to the point and capture it early on. But without the Reinhardt there to protect him, Chara falls foul of a hail of orbs from BEBE's direction. Rio has returned to the fight, so fortunately for Guangzhou, they haven't relinquished control of the point here, but look at that, Hangzhou are ready for Eileen to drop in.
He's got to be so careful, though. Crystal lands that Brigitte bash onto him, a Discord orb, and you're in trouble as there goes Rhea off the side.
And this is what we want to see with Eileen adding to this Guangzhou team, man. A little bit of that flexibility, some big playmaking heroes, and he's looking very good now. Guangzhou is going to be in deep trouble, Eileen. Meteor strike time. And he'll just use it to clean up IDK, ideally return to the fight. Guangzhou, bit of a mix-up here, and the Doomfist been well utilized thus far.
I mean, the Meteor Strike is usually used in combination with, let's say, a Graviton Surge, or it's used as more of a movement ability to get out of trouble. You go in a little bit too deep as Doomfist, you can use that ultimate ability, get up to the sky, get out of harm's way.
Back on the approach now, Hangzhou. Off by there, sort of being knocked a little bit away, out of line of sight of maintain, but again, Eileen just goes in, gets BEBE. He tried to do this last time, and now the rest of the Spark are just going to get absolutely gutted. Looks like Guangzhou might be averting this potential this map loss streak here. They're looking very sharp so far.
I would also put Doomfist in a category of Overwatch heroes that, you know, it's a very team-oriented game. Doomfist is one of the heroes that has the ability to really solo carry games. Doomfist can really just cause a lot of issues for teams. I mean, even when you have the Brigitte to be able to stun and whatnot, Doomfist, when he lands those moves and abilities, he earns shield. So he starts to get really high in HP.
He's getting bubbled as well as he goes in by Hotbar, who, speaking of which, is very charged up and very close to a Graviton Surge. Hangzhou left to go a little bit earlier on, and Rhea's able to get a quick 3 kills. And that Transcendence there from Shu looks very sad.
Eileen still comes in, cleans up BEBE, but it'll be Hangzhou who take the point.
Yeah. Still went for BEBE. I guess at that point it's psychological warfare. Hangzhou managed to stay in this one and regain control of the point. Now they have an Earth Shadow to work with here for Guangzhou.
Yeah, but you do have the Hotbar Graviton Surge plus the Doomfist Meteor Strike, which I was talking about. It's a big combo we used to see when Doomfist was played a ton. Doomfist and Zarya have really good synergy.
Up to the high ground again for Guangzhou here. Eileen's looked very, very good on this map so far. Look at it, straight in the backline once more. Can he complete the kill though? There is a lot of healing, a lot of shielding available for the Spark. That's going to be an Earth Shatter attempt now. Eileen tries to drop in there with a Meteor Strike. Doesn't find too much. Going to back up to the high ground and try and get a flanking kill on Assassination. BEBE could be in trouble there. Yes, he gets lined up by Eileen. And the Guangzhou charge complete the Graviton play with Doomfist wreaking absolute havoc in the backline, Matt.
So they will flip the point here, and don't even know if you're going to get a good touch here for the Hangzhou Spark as Crystal goes over to Tracer. Probably just a last Tracer effort, doesn't even make it. Rhea barely makes it to the point, but I know this is not going to last long.
No, neither Guangzhou or Godsby are going to touch the point. So Guangzhou start well. It's been a tough league for them in, over the last 3-4 weeks almost. They've not found much success, much glory, but that stage looked a lot closer to what they're looking for. The Doomfist from Eileen was very, very good. Obviously, you know, we've seen a bunch of Kib as well as, you know, Eileen and Kib are sort of splitting 50-50 on playtime in this team. We've seen Kib obviously play a couple of things, but mostly the Brigitte. But yeah, that Doomfist, big impact. Guangzhou, one of the only teams that are really utilizing it heavily, at least from what we've seen so far.
Do they go on again here? Yeah, I mean, usually you can play some Widowmaker on this point as we move downtown.
Well, I mean, I don't mind it here, Matt, especially if you're playing on the point. It's pretty easy to rising uppercut to the high ground and get a bit of safety. I'm here. Hangzhou haven't demonstrated an understanding of how to play around it yet, or they haven't been able to do so.
Do it until they stop it, right? I mean,
if it ain't broke. Here come the Spark, though. Again, they're aware of Eileen. They're just putting him on notice that they noticed him. That must be so annoying, the poke damage from IDK to keep him quiet.
And he can't really stay in for a very long time because he's going to get burst down. So taking that...
Oh, he gets him.
approach with the Doomfist from very far, not ideal, as the point will go to the Spark first.
I mean, that's just it, right? Doomfist needs to get into the fight kind of undetected, because if their eyes are on him the entire time, well, you see him coming, you can boop him, you can actually be ready for a shield bash, which is often hard to do if you're getting knocked up by him.
It's like a more like high risk, high reward than like a Reaper. Like they kind of cover the same category where actually Reaper's more of like a tank buster. I feel like Doomfist is just an insta-kill machine where you're able to just pick players off.
That repair pack got put on IDK there just to keep him alive. Oh, but it doesn't matter. Arlene is eventually going to break through.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about this.
That's it. Sometimes, brute force is going to get the job done here, despite the resources that Hangzhou, repair pack in this, that Hangzhou tried to expend to keep their team alive and limit the impact of the Doomfist.
And when the Doomfist is getting like rally armor, let's say, when you have Happy getting close to rally and then landing combos, because it's easy to land some of his abilities because everybody's grouped together, they're all tanks, so not. So he's getting up to like 300 HP with some armor on top. He becomes another tank, so to speak.
And again, if he's hitting shielded targets, he's not going to be able to stay in that fight for as long, you know what I mean? He needs to get the damage to get the shield.
I mean, look, he's at almost 400 HP right now.
Yeah. Now he's just going to set up here. I don't think Hangzhou are paying much attention to him as an Earth Shatter attempt from Rio. No one fell by that one now. It's going to be a Transcendence from BEBE as the Spark try and move back towards the point. Both teams pretty even on capture percentage so far, and Hopper doesn't want to have to use his Graviton Mat unless he really has to. Seismic Slam, will that yield a kill? Unlikely against this kind of composition. Eileen just wants to use it to reposition himself off to the side. So he doesn't set himself up behind or next to his teammates. He always wants to be coming from a different angle here to keep Hangzhou turning their head. Graviton Surge, that will get the job done. And Guangzhou are in a great position now, Matt. Not only do they maintain the point after a long fight, but they never lost it. So they just keep this percentage going.
And I mean, they're going to get their Transcendence here as Shoes walking up the rest of the team as the spawn camp is on. As maybe they get close to a Transcendence of his own, but you'll have the rally armor that'll come through from Happy as well. You're going to, before the Spark can even get a chance to go in and make a play at this, you're going to have about 80%. I mean, they have to think about investing any ultimates they get right away because you may not get another good fight after that.
And that might be where the mistakes start to creep in, or where, Gravitons get shot in the wrong direction.
I don't think they have no clue either.
Eileen, does he have a Warden? I guess he'll try and knock a player into maybe the door jam. Yeah, he's been spotted out. He actually got shield bashed as soon as he walked out. He's still able to get to safety because he's just so slippery. But here's that Graviton Surge now from Hangzhou. They have to use his ultimates and they have to be effective. But Guangzhou goes down. BEBE also missing. That is not what the Spark were looking for here. They were supposed to be breaking the mold and breaking the deadlock. But instead, they get half of their team taken out when they try and initiate with a Graviton Surge. Hangzhou, we've seen stats that indicate this, Matt, that they're using these big team fight winning ultimates and actually losing more often. Just like that, the Guangzhou Charge have ended their map loss streak. Finally getting a win on the board of the relief. It's palpable, man.
And that one wasn't close. They come in and they dominate the Spark here. In map number 1, Eileen was tremendous on the Doomfist.
Tremendous!
They had no answer for him the entire map. They seem so confused how to deal with that hero. I wonder if we'll see the Doomfist a little bit more in the series. Map 2 right after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Well, the long drought of map wins is over for the Guangzhou Charge, but they still have a series to win, and those have been coming few and far between for them as well. Man, a lot of ground for Guangzhou to make up. Hangzhou looked like they struggled to really understand even how to play around what the Charge is.
Yeah, I mean, they look like they've never seen Doomfist before, ever. I mean, Eileen was just getting in the back line, just picking off supports. They really, the Spark really had no opportunity to get anything going because they were always down a player.
It definitely feels like the Doomfist did a lot more on mecha base than it sort of did.
I would say that.
I feel like I thought Hangzhou were kind of ready for the Doomfist and they were able to counter it somewhat, but it didn't matter because there was another 5 players they had to worry about.
And I would say for the Charge, you win this map and you get kind of, the losing streak over with. Everybody can joke around a little bit. You got to start, build some confidence, right? You lose all those maps in a row. Can't feel great. You get back on the stage, you win that first one here against the Spark. Now you're like, hey, you're winning a series is realistic at this point. You got to sub. It'll be Adora coming in here for Crystal. So they did this in the series against Boston. Crystal played, the first map and the 4th map, and Adora came in.
2 and 3, yeah, that's right. They kept Crystal in for map 5 if memory serves, but we've mostly seen Adora play Brigitte at this stage. We actually know that he's quite a competent damage dealer player, a DPS player in general, but it's just not been something that's been heavily showcased by this team. So that's where you should expect him to be. Obviously, with Eileen remaining in the roster here and no substitute out for Kim, that kind of makes sense. But I want to see who's playing what, because Paris is definitely going to be, a map where Batiste is, much more viable. You're going to see maybe some Wrecking Ball, some Orisa.
Yeah, I mean, this is where you see, like, bunker comps, right, where they come out with the Bastion in the Batiste. So this will be, like, point A, right? So the platform in the back, that's what you'll have to take first on the offense.
It's not very elevated.
B. Yeah, not a lot of high ground here.
Not really that easy to defend it. You can see one whole side of it backs up onto the river, so environmental kills are a big option. Here's point B. So attackers have to filter their way into this courtyard, which is honestly very difficult. It's very hard to get in here without taking a ton of damage as attackers. So teams that are able to find a way to outposition defenders find themselves getting a lot more success on this map. We'll be looking out for that when we get to point B.
Yeah, and when we go to point B, the chokes are very narrow, but they're pretty spread out. So you kind of trying to catch the defense rotating to one side or the other. The Charge come out on defense, actually nothing odd. They're actually going to run Winston on D here, which is usually rare because it's pretty open. Like, I usually see a lot of, like, Orisa on defense, Bastion, Batiste, but it looks like the Spark, they're going to go, let's see, IDK, he's going to switch over to Lucio. Yeah, so they're going to mirror, outside of No Shoot playing Ana here on defense. They're going to have BEBE playing Zenyatta. Ana on defense likes the high ground, likes the biotic grenades from when the offense is coming in.
Well, here comes the defensive dive. It was Rio dropping in over the top. Damage trades seem to have favored Hangzhou early on here, but Gushue needs to back away. He took a bunch of damage. Both teams, I mean, this is not standard play for this map, but it is for pretty much every other one. Neither team really wants to change their formula up too much to suit the map.
It's an interesting look on this map. When we go to point B, you usually see stuff like this, but point A, you usually see a little bit of wackier setups on the defense. So the Spark have actually pushed the Charge back off of the point here, so getting very close to getting a tick.
Rhea almost knocked off the map. He was sort of protected, and he would have been able to boost back on in there. It was a whip shot, though, that was aimed at him. So the Guangzhou Charge pushed forward, and the way that these 3-3 comps play out is that things kind of build up to a fever pitch, a critical mass of ultimates, and then people start hitting Q, just like this. Both teams going for the rally here. Rio with a Primal Rage, but not really sure what he's trying to find right now. Gushue actually gets rid of Happy despite getting slept by Shu on his way down. And that's not ideal. Rio also has to get out of there. His Primal Rage has expired, and Guangzhou don't really do a lot of damage. They just kind of hang around and try and push people around the point map, but it doesn't do much.
No, and now you have the Graviton Surge online for both teams, so that'll be a point A take there for the Hangzhou Spark. So now we can get to see, as we move into point B, usually you see more Reinhardt on this part of the map, so you see Rio already on the defense, switching over to the Reinhardt. The base 3-3, you're probably going to have Shu use the Nano Boost, and then think about switching over to the Zenyatta.
That's the Graviton Surge, so it gets let go early, and Happy is able to set up a kill for Gushue by Rio charging. Hangzhou say, okay, we need Gushue around, and frankly, we want to save our Graviton, so all's well that ends well for the Spark. They still have 5 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock, and they got a nice little stall on Rhea. Yes, Hangzhou, Guangzhou, Rhea. It's going to be a caster's nightmare.
So, they do get the Graviton Surge off, and they end up taking out Gushue, but he actually probably wants to move off of Winston anyway, so they kind of burn the grav, and then they're forcing the switch. That
Extra
they would have wanted
stagger
anyway,
because
so.
he had to go back to spawn.
So
big brain, don't kill the Winston on purpose. I like it.
well, no, I mean, no, I'm saying that the Hangzhou Spark wanted to probably switch off of Winston when they saw it on the other side, so they used the grav, and here's going to be a Graviton Surge from the Hangzhou Spark. And,
good setup. That's such a good
nice.
setup. Ria with 3. Can't ask for much more than that. Hangzhou, all their resources in there, and I tell you what, this is going to end up being quite a fast time here on Paris. 3 kills with a self-destruct, follow up with a fire strike, and Bob's your uncle. They're looking very close to taking this map away. Hotpa, that's a big old D-suit there. Wrecking Ball now going to come in from Rio and try and stir up a little bit of rabble in the backside, but Ria is D-suited. Transcendence though will keep him alive, even though he's in that pilot form. Another nutty shoe sleek dart on towards Guangzhou, who just has to punch out some Z's.
Look at Rio, he's just swinging around.
Back in the mech now for Ria. A D-suit now going to be pretty important. Immortality field dropped down. Hotpo hoping to make some use of that and get a quick pick, but that is denied. And there it is, the Hangzhou Spark push in. Great team fight setup. We know this team in stage 1 were very good at setting up Graviton bomb combos, Matt, and you saw the legacy of that there.
Yeah, it's a fantastic setup. Great grab from Godspeed. They used the self-destruct perfectly. Guangzhou with a charge, a boot that pushed through. We'll see the Chargers offense after this.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Into the iris.
The Hangzhou Spark, the old classic. The Graviton bomb, Reinhardt charging. If that ain't classic in Overwatch, I don't know what is. We've been looking at that for about 6 to 8 months, but it works, man. It's effective.
He had a nice boot from IDK in there as well. Saw his boops against Boston were pretty sweet. Ended up really kind of making the plays and ended up winning them that series.
They 100% won because of what he did in that last map.
Oh,
he was filthy.
He was so sick, like. But we'll see now the Spark on defense. This is really interesting because we don't see like the Winston on defense. Well, we saw it from the Charge. We'll see it from the Spark. But guys, you can get your tickets. Come join us. All-Star Weekend here at the Blizzard Arena.
It's not actually a weekend, but it'll be great. It'll feel like a weekend because Overwatch is great and every day's a holiday.
It's during the week, but you know, you take off from work. Everything's a weekend.
Yeah, tell your boss that. AXS.com/OWL, ladies and gentlemen. Come hang out with us. We've got a lot of fun stuff planned.
I'll write a letter for you to work. I'll get you out. Don't worry.
Matt Murillo, MD.
No.
Love to see it.
No, that'll get you fired. You got the Charge on offense here.
And then Matt will deny any involvement in getting you fired.
That's a good point. I would do that.
No Widowmaker. I was kind of hoping for it from Happy, but both teams. This is weird, isn't it? They do not. You maybe look. You know, when you're struggling a little bit or you're not really winning games, maybe you're sort of just focusing on like the fundamentals, right? Trying to make these creep 3 comps work, and you don't have the ability or the freedom to feel like you can try new things. But Chara, well, he's down already now, and that car park is quite treacherous here. You're about to see why. I'm not really sure why Guangzhou hung out here. Didn't expect Hangzhou to engage, but they do. And Godspeed is charged up doing a lot of damage, and that is A, a filthy stagger, and B, a lot of ult percent going over to Hangzhou.
Yeah, it's Hotba has to jump off the side as he gets stuck in the back. But yeah, I think if you're two teams that I think these teams right now not playing exactly how they would like. You can't really practice complicated strategies that move off of the meta before you actually learn how to play the meta at a high level. Where I think you
really want your fundamentals to be crisp before you start to improvise. You know. That wasn't crisp from the charge. Losing Chara, I think they were afraid of backing out and exposing themselves again, but the result was kind of the same either way. IDK's in a great spot here just to displace some people. Gooshway's doing that even better though with a Primal Rage.
Yeah, he's in a good spot.
Oh no. I'd say someone call the Popo, but they're right there. The 5-0's looking, they ain't doing anything about it.
So that's a great, I mean, IDK sets it up perfectly. I mean, you get everybody in that corner, and then you just like Gushue just make plays. As we saw, during the World Cup last year, right? His Primal Rages are sick. Comes in there, Primal Rage. Don't need to use anything else after that. It's just set up. It's crazy. It's set up by a Lucio boot, just a displacement, and then just a sick Primal Rage. You're able to get a fight win.
Yeah, giving you that bit of that juggling, that circ to so long, bro. Around the corner he waits. So again, he's probably trying to latch on to someone in the back line. The Graviton gives them 2.
Oh.
Yeah, getting Eileen and Hotba's mech is enough, and that Transcendence, again, it doesn't look good. On paper, Matt, it looked fine.
I mean, they're trying to keep Eileen up in Hotba. Hotba was in the Grav as well, but both of those players are done for before they even come over with the Trance. So, not looking good for the charge early. And you wonder, you can't even access this platform. Where is this Graviton Surge going to go if you're happy?
I don't think you feel good about being the Zarya who needs to grab from the low ground, Matt.
No.
You don't have line of sight. Like, there's two many ways LOS can get blocked or Divas can be hidden from you. 1 minute, 19 seconds, Guangzhou.
You gotta play, if you're the charge, you gotta kind of play for the point here. Like, they're using the Primal to create space. They've actually forced out Transcendence.
Okay, here's the grab after the fact here, so a little bit late now. The bubble dropped down, that won't protect too much, but Ria's already found 2 anyway. Getting Chara and Hotba, going +1 on the self-destruct kills here is just, that's massive, Matt. You're throwing your hands up in the air, you're losing it.
Yeah, I mean, that is one where they kind of went all in there. Not able to come away with anything. They're going to walk back into Godspeed with a Graviton Surge. They're going to use this Grav, farm up Transcendence, maybe be able to shoot orbs right into it. And maybe Shu ends up, having the trans for it, which they'll be able to keep pushing after that. But still, I mean, you're looking at the clock, 30 seconds left. You ain't got any check marks up there for the charge.
The bell's starting to toll. And how about that? Just throw a grab right at Guangzhou, even though they know the hotbar is in the vicinity.
It's a great play. Why not?
Well, it's great if the grab doesn't get eaten. If it gets eaten, it's like, what? But it didn't. And I would have to assume that Godspeed made sure that it wouldn't be.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they play close, Gushue Primal Rages, and they're going to have to layer both support ults.
And if they get onto the point, they might have 1 or 2 players there. Could make it hard for Shu to really get the Transcendence where it needs to be. Gushue drops in, gets stunned up early on, but he had plenty of health and also some armor. The latent effects of Adora's rally really helped Gushue stay durable. And that is a late Transcendence from Shu. You already lost most of your team at that point. Eileen and Happy went down despite the Zenyatta ultimate being committed. And now it's time for Primal Rage, for more of a celebratory effort, really. Gushue may as well be up there on Pride Rock beating his chest with those fists because he knows he's king in this jungle. Gushue down to Hotba, but where is the rest of the charge? They're going to try and make it to the point, but with him going down, there's no chance. No way. And Hangzhou Spark, I mean, I don't think I've seen a Paris map look that one-sided in quite some time. The pendulum swings back and forth, and both these two have a map.
And they look like a completely different team in map 2, the Spark. Putting in Adora to play the Brigitte, but there's really no Gushue. He goes 31 eliminations, 10 final blows, only 2 deaths the entire map. Sick play from the main tank of the Spark. We'll be right back after halftime.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Огонь по готовности.
Pass into the iris.
My ultimate is charging. I know you can do it.
Time to raise my hand.
Get in there.
Team rally to me.
Pass into the iris.
Огонь по готовности.
Pass into the iris.
Finally putting it into a 23-map losing streak, and now they're looking to start a new streak with a win in this one. They're all tied up 1-1 with the Spark at the half. Welcome to halftime, everybody. Malik here. We got Zoe and Sideshow, who is now confined. You're barricaded.
We had to do something about it. It
About
got
what?
way too crazy. About him moving around like a crazy person.
My analysis is so powerful, they tried to contain me with this.
But we can't. No barrier will
It
stop
can't
it.
be. My brain's too big.
We're not letting you loose, man. All right, so we are a half through this showdown, and it's been really good so far. I had to get you, Zoe. She laughed. She can't take the punch, man.
Such an easy one as well.
All right, well, let's talk about some of the cool plays we saw on Busan, starting with that Doomfist. Eileen breaking out the Doomfist wrecking shop.
It was
Pretty awesome,
fantastic.
right?
Yeah, and this is the first time we actually see any player play that much Doomfist in this very season, and that's only 9 minutes overall. So take a guess at how little it has been played so far. And honestly, Spark had no answer to that, no clue how to actually deal with the aggression. And this is the aggression which Charge actually pulled ahead with earlier in stage 1, and this is why we all thought they can be such a top team, because they didn't play scared. They did actually they were just in their opponents' faces all the time. But with the Doomfist pick, that allows for a lot of those kind of plays.
Yeah, it forces you to play that aggressive, and I did like it from the Guangzhou Charge. You know, it's something Monte Cristo's been talking about a lot. The teams need to find a style that works for them if they're at the bottom of the table, and no team was further at the bottom of the table in stage 2 than the Guangzhou Charge, who had barely hadn't won a map at all. So I really like this play. It was popular a while back. They used to play it in contenders in Korea quite a lot. A team called Element Mystic used to play Doomfist all the time. So a lot of the teams do know how to deal with it, but the Spark have forgotten because it was so long.
Right, indeed. All right, so let's move ahead. Guangzhou and IDK, two players that we've been keeping our eyes on. We talked about them a little bit in the pre-show. How are they faring in this matchup, in your guys' opinion?
Oh, they've been doing great. Generally, I think the Spark had a really great game there in Paris. It was just an overall good teamwork from their side. And Guangzhou, actually, as of late, I think in the last few games we had from him, I wasn't as impressed, but now he kind of looks like he's back on his final form.
Yeah, I think the Guangzhou Charge, you know, they took a map, they stopped themselves setting history with the longest map loss streak of all time.
Yes.
And then now they're like, oh, well, how about we start another one? How about we start another one? Because they just went straight back to playing that kind of style where they were timid on their approaches, they were focusing on the wrong people when Guangzhou was engaging onto them. So I need to see more aggression. You don't only play aggressive when you've got the Doomfist in the lineup. You can play aggressive all the time if you want to.
Why aren't we getting the wacky compositions from the Guangzhou Charge that we got in stage 1?
I can ask the same for Spark. Remember how everyone's like, they're the best 3 DPS team ever? Literally haven't seen that a single time. Prove it. Show us.
Yeah, maybe they're just trying to lock up the 3-3. All right,
it
so
works.
what can we expect in the second half, guys? We're all tied up 1-1. Who do you think is going to come out on top? You guys both going with the shock, or can the Charge get in here?
Nah, I think Spark is still going to have the upper hand unless the Charge actually come out with some more weird, wonky strats, which will actually take them off guard. But if the Charge is going to play the same 3-3, I don't think they're going to have a big chance against the Spark.
Break out a Reaper.
No, don't.
Don't do it.
Don't go there.
Don't do it. You
We're
will
not
start
there yet.
another lost streak if you bring out the Reaper. Don't listen to Malik.
You just broke your map losing streak. Don't start that one up again.
Oh, don't listen to me. Well, guys, it's anybody's game. We're going to go ahead and get into the second half right after the break. So stay tuned. You won't want to miss this one. They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
There's a lot of similar names out there on the battlefield, but the performances have varied greatly between our first two maps in these series. After the halftime, both Guangzhou and Hangzhou are drawn at 1 apiece, Matt. I think it's safe to say the Spark look to be much more themselves in map 2.
Yeah, I mean, once they weren't going against the Doomfist and no way to react, and we got down to just 3-3, 3 tanks, 3 supports. The charge didn't really get anything going.
It was weird,
either
right?
end.
Both teams on Paris. Paris is the kind of map right now where compositions are being sort of tailored to that map. Instead of just like a really strong, 3-3, teams are trying to play like Bastion, they're trying to play Orisa, they're trying to play Batiste. But now we've seen these two rosters really just stick to playing that 3-3. Crystal comes back in now, and does that mean we go away from 3-3 for Hangzhou, or do we just see him play Brie?
We'll find out. I mean, the last series, we saw him in maps 1, 4, and 5. So we saw him to kick things off on Control, we saw him on Junkertown, and we saw him in the Control. So we'll see now as he gets added to this roster, more, right? Playing more games. We'll see him here on King's Row.
It's pretty crazy, actually, if you look across these two teams. A number of the representatives for China in the 2018 World Cup are present here, especially players such as Eileen. Crystal was in the mix. I've cast him at a World Cup before. So here's King's Row. The attackers will move to here. This is the last phase of the map. That circle right there is the end. That's where they're trying to get the payload to finish the map.
At least where you hope they get the payload to.
Yeah, well, look, I mean,
Spark 0 and 3, they may not have seen that.
That's right. But here is where it all starts. This is where Hangzhou have to take control at this point to even access the payload map. Guangzhou are playing 3-3 with the Reinhardt. Hangzhou will probably switch off a lot of these DPSs post-haste.
Yeah, the Reinhardt 3-3 is the play here on King's Row. Reinhardt, Zarya, always.
It's a gold standard.
Yeah, always the flavor on King's Row is. Shu will be playing on defense. A lot of high ground here for the Ani. He's going to be playing on the point, though, as No, teams kind of have their own like little styles and variations now. 3-3 with Zenyatta, getting adjusted a little bit. Ana doing less. That you're seeing a little bit more Ana play. Sometimes, like the shock they run it with Batiste. So seeing some variation between a lot of these teams.
Shu's sleep darts have looked good. He's probably had some pretty average Transcendence luck so far, though. He couldn't get much done on Paris with that one, and there it is. Eventually, Hangzhou Splinter as they try and push into the charge. IDK and Gushui both down, and Shu's been able to keep his team standing this entire time. I mean, this guy's great to watch, especially if you have Command Center.
So
keep an eye on not only his sleep darts, but also how he sets up his body grenades.
Well, that's why it's so weird this team went on like a long losing streak. It's just like, where's the
problem? Yeah.
Well, usually when a team is like historically bad, right, which their losing streak, although they do go up against tough opponents the entire time, was bad. There's like a glaring weakness. Like there is not really like a glaring weakness with the charge.
Let's see if the Spark can make one or exploit it. Again, yeah, a team that takes the Titans to 5 maps is not what you would call weak at all. Transcendence here from the Spark now. Guangzhou, this Earth Shadow needs to sort of break them out of this deadlock, or they could be in a bit of trouble. They get Crystal, Rio getting the knockdown and Shu getting the finish off, and the lack of Brigitte is concerning for the Spark.
So the charge, they invest some ultimates after the grab comes down from Godspeed, and they end up coming out on top of the fight. They move forward here to try and gain some real estate. But although they do go on that losing streak, right? They played the Titans twice in stage 1. If they don't play Vancouver twice, there's a chance, there's a pretty decent chance they're in the stage 1 playoff. Like, this is a team that has seen that level.
Were they
of
3 and
success.
4, right?
Yep.
Pretty decent record. Plenty of teams had that one. All right, Earth Shadow there for Gushui. It looks like he was knocked around a corner and was displaced.
Yeah, that was Chara.
Yeah. Nice little boop to shut down that Earth Shatter, and still Hangzhou can have a crack at it. They have a sound barrier to back this one up. It's going to be a nano boost. Ottawa's happy by the looks of things. He's going to get a grab very quickly. Great way to feed another Zaya ultimate whilst allowing Happy to do a lot of damage and also allowing him to play more aggressively. There's the grab, but both teams end up using it, but the Spark are where they want to be. They're on the point right now. 2 ticks now of permanent progress have been accrued for them, and we'll see Rio push forward, but his shield is very low. He is at great risk of being taken down, and the Hangzhou lean into him in just the right way to pick him off. Hop will try and get away. He's discorded, and Shu gets caught amidst the action. The Spark are on the road.
And if Godspeed doesn't have that grab, that's actually a really sick play from the charge. Shu actually hit a sleep dart onto Rhea, so there was no chance that the grab from Happy would have gotten eaten at range. That's why you saw him use it from so far away. They just end up trapping each other on the point, right?
That's what you start seeing Sombra and Ana players really try and do in 3-3 matchups, is focus on hacking or sleeping that enemy diva. The Spark push up quite deep here in the second phase of the map just to deny some progress and allow them to move through some of these chokes unfettered.
And I think you see Shu switch over to the Zen. I think you need Zen on this part of the map. You need that big Transcendence support ultimate. You're not going to be able to live through some of these combos in this Streets phase if you don't have it.
Self-destruct comes in. Attempt the Earth Shatter there as well. Gooseway jumping up, but no one behind him was actually caught by the Earth Shatter coming in from Rio, who was stunned. There was a mutual knockdown between the two Reinhardts, but Gooseway looks to be in the more compromising scenario there. Yeah, he was surrounded by charge players. And the rest of Hangzhou are going to get out of there.
Yeah, so you're going to see Shu build up to a Transcendence in this fight already, so the switch pays off. You're able to get that ultimate. Now to have it to combat Godspeed with the Graviton Surge is, you would think, like, all right, the sound barrier comes out from Chara. He had some ultimates used. So BEBE has that big Transcendence. They use it. They still end up losing the fight, where it looked like there was a long period of time where the Spark had the opportunity to use that Transcendence healing and make a play, and nothing really formed out of it.
Much like map 1, I'm not seeing a lot of Hangzhou getting value out of their ultimates, or at least not as much as they're looking for in this attack so far. They get grabbed this time, so you can't hold it against them. The self-destruct, maybe unnecessary here. But the Spark pretty much knew they were going to be walking into that one. The next fight, they do need to get some value here. If they don't, well, I mean, look, there's no reason not to. You've got 2 support ultimates coming up in the fight, Earth Shatter and Graviton Surge. Self-destruct's probably going to be there. It has to happen here for Hangzhou. If it doesn't happen here and they use too much, I think they're done.
Yeah, but I think what you'll see the charge do is play close, play the choke, right? Maybe you land a big shatter of your own, and then you can always like hide Shu to the side and make sure he doesn't get hit by the shatter and then come out for the grab. So looks like they do back up there. They're going to give some space here as they're going to play around the cart. Now they're going to actually get aggressive behind Eileen's rally. So they're just trying to create space, force them back, maybe a grab on the run.
Look at that.
Gushue.
That's it. I
that's
wondered,
big.
would Gushue be forced to try and shatter? I mean, you can turn the fight around there. We've seen it happen before. Fusions is the kind of player that will do it there. But no, Hangzhou spent all the time backing up. Gushue's shield just gets broken. I mean, they do well with IDK to put them in a position where they could disengage. They don't lose everyone at least, but they want to set themselves off on the right foot here.
It just buys time.
It's a rally to win a fight.
Yeah, I mean now you're 40 seconds. You see the payloads moved all the way back this far. The Spark did have it around the corner for a while. Long range grab. The Transcendence comes out.
Yeah, Rio up against the wall here, wasn't able to shield the rest of his team, but still no one was, again, taken down by the self-destruct. Rio, though, he's not in a good position there. He couldn't get back to the rest of his team. Too much disruption, too many stuns from Hangzhou, and they didn't have to use the Transcendence here, which is probably the most pertinent issue, is they need another fight to get to the Foundry properly. This is why Gushue wants to push forward so far, because if he can get a pick here, he can stop Guangzhou from effectively trying to fight once more outside.
I wonder if they're going to try and get another touch. They're going to give it up.
They sent Hotbar into touch, surely.
Yeah.
Hotbar touches, Rio gets bubble. It's going to be sound barrier, but Rio didn't quite get it, or at least it got taken off him awfully fast. He's down again, Rio. Either out of position or pressured into getting taken down. Either one is not great for the Guangzhou charge. Hangzhou looking better in this fight now. Hotbar discorded, trying to keep things alive here. He can't really use the defense matrix to protect Eileen from the swinging hammer. But very angry Gushue. It's going to take more than that. Transcendence isn't terrible though. When they use that to get Gushue, they might be able to weather the storm here. We're in overtime. Hangzhou have to put the pedal to the metal right now, but that's a huge shadow in from Rio. Gets two. Self-destruct. Shield's up there though. He doesn't need it for the time being. It's all go, go, go. And the Guangzhou charge have held off the Spark outside of the Foundry, only giving them one checkpoint.
Yeah, and Rio does fall, but they use the rally of Eileen. They're able to choose Transcendence and just so much sustain that the Spark could not match after they use their grab, and they're able to hold them before checkpoint 2.
Two teams, very aggressive main tanks going head to head, but this time it's the Spark pulling up short. We'll see if the charge can punish him for it.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Routing power to forward shield.
My ultimate is ready.
That felt uncharacteristic from Hangzhou, Matt. Their offense, we'd seen it be such a powerful tool for them, and they really looked much stronger when they were the ones who got to set the pace of play. But Guangzhou ground them to a screeching halt in front of point B.
Yeah, I thought you saw them, the charge on defense be very aggressive, which I think the Spark didn't deal with great. But hey, match of the week, Sunday, 3:30 PT. Spark, Shock will be on that one. That'll be fun.
Absolutely.
See our main boy Super go up against Gushue. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean,
that'll be sick.
the Shocker, they're hustling people in the neutral map, but Hangzhou, I think, for a team that can take it to them on a good day, and that main tank matchup is something I am extremely excited for.
That's what's scary about the Spark, is you watch them in a game like this, and you're just like, it's all right. Then you watch some of their other games, and you see the potential they have, and you have no idea which one's going to show up on the day.
I mean, that also means that they can be maddeningly inconsistent. But
Well,
4 and 5 is a scoreline that tells that story.
if they come in unprepared, you know what the Shock are going to do to them.
They're gonna get bodied.
Yeah, the Super's going to be sitting outside the spawn door, just shattering in the spawn. It's going to be a bloodbath.
The Spark will have one day to prepare for that one.
Yeah,
They
it's
best be
tough
taking
turnaround.
notes. See if they can get the best out of Crystal in that matchup. I'm curious to see how they use him, maybe get him on a couple more different roles. But Eileen's in there on the Doomfist! Goose Ray. Damn, he just got carved up.
The coach of the Charge at halftime was like, all right, guys, so I watched map 1, and I don't think they really knew what to do about Doomfist. I think maybe we should bring it back in. They're like, oh, yeah, it's a great idea. Come out here with the Doomfist, go in, take out the main tank. Everybody from the Spark just hanging out top. They're just going to try and go down and maybe get one final attempt here. They're going to be able to get a play.
Yeah, Chara delayed Gooshway there by booping him back as he tried to approach on the ground. So Gooshway had to jump into the top window and then down to get back onto the point. Pretty annoying for Hangzhou, but they still managed to get in there. BEBE, very timely transcendence to keep Spark in the fight. Eileen, again, chasing after Gooshway. Primal Rage versus one gauntlet-y boy. It's a 1-for-1 trade in the end. And again, you're pretty happy with that for the charge. Getting rid of the enemy main tank. Graviton surges galore coming out here.
Self-destruct's in the doorway, all right.
Okay, Guangzhou still look good. Getting rid of Rhea and Crystal here. Just the dregs of Hangzhou left.
So you do have, looks like 3 players here for the Spark as the BEBE falls IDK. Only one else left was Gosby. He's going to back on out. As the Charge do take the point. Some time in the bank as they're in a pretty good position to be able to potentially win this map. I mean, 4 minutes plus in the time bank. You're working on with some ultimates. We have not seen anything thus far that would lead you to believe they're going to figure this Doomfist out. It hasn't been a huge difference maker in terms of picking up kills, but Doomfist is like, he comes in, he's annoying in your backline, you have to peel for it, you have to do something, and when that's going on, everybody else is just, getting killed on the other side of the map.
Yep, just wishing your supports good luck and hoping that they can get Doomfist off them is not an option. You have to respond. And that always puts so much pressure on a teammate. It's the same when we see like Amon playing Wrecking Ball, right? You need to pick to counter that hero. Anything that forces compositions from your opponents, that's just one hero, is very, very good. But the caveat is, you have to have a player who can use the hero in such a way to have such an impact that forces your opponents to respond. That's a long way of saying Eileen is making Hangzhou sweat.
And I'm surprised that fight went as long as it did, because when Eileen goes in, he knocks players up. Rio actually lands a shatter when they come down, knocks like 3 or 4 to the ground. So you see Shu just leaving that Harmony Orb here on Eileen to provide that healing at range. And I think he's invisible as well. It'll be the grab plus Transcendence here. Transcendence used for the Spark.
Look at that focus on a Wedge Gooseway there as well. That's pretty nasty. Gonna be a Graviton Surge deck coming out from Godspeed though, and Guangzhou can weather this one. Shu had the Transcendence there, and there it is. BEBE is down. And that'll be the beginning of the end for the Hangzhou Spark. Crystal soon after. Shu now get involved. Sound barrier for the Guangzhou charge to make this all the more easier. Gooseway trying to split the charge off here with a Primal Rage, and it would be good. It would be good timing as well if he had people to follow up on the displacement. No one was there though. One man against the entirety of Guangzhou. And there it is, match point now coming up for Guangzhou. 2 maps to 1 after such a drought of victory. They've got to be feeling good, especially being in this position up against a team that they definitely consider their rival. This is when you want to pull out all the stops. And the Guangzhou Charge have done exactly that. Well, Hangzhou need to win this next map to stay in the series, or it'll be all over. It's either next map or map 5. We'll find out in a second.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
up in Guangzhou, Matt. That's where it's at. Nice to see
watch
Tutu
party's
there
going on,
leading the crowd.
I believe I watch party in Hangzhou as well, so it's good to see everybody getting together.
That one looked like it was in a shopping mall, actually.
Oh, that one looked pretty.
Actually, I did an Overwatch tournament in a shopping mall in China once. It was great. It was very convenient.
Yeah.
We could just go down to Burberry, you know, in the break, just have a look at stuff I can't afford to buy. It's great. Anyway.
Happy thought it was funny. I'm sure he's laughing at your jokes.
Yes.
Yeah, he
no one
finds it
does
hilarious.
that. It's just being polite. I guess that could make sense. So we're going in now into our final, our fourth map of the series. I shouldn't say final. There's a chance for map 5. Adora comes back in for Crystal. So didn't quite gel last map, Matt. Look, this is a weird series because
It's
these
really
two
weird,
teams
yeah.
are throwing haymakers at each other and they're like getting knocked out in the first round on each map. It's like they're back and forth.
Like the Charge dominate map 1, the Spark run through them in map 2. Then we kind of go to map 3, and the Spark, they looked pretty decent on offense, right? They didn't complete the map. They almost get the second checkpoint. They essentially got the second checkpoint, just not the credit for it, like past it.
Yeah, and the extension on time, the ability to play more Overwatch.
But then like the Charge were like, hey, Doomfist worked map 1, let's do it again. Spoiler alert, worked in map 3.
Can you play it here?
No, I don't think you can. I think there's way too much verticality. Like the map really needs to suit Doomfist as well. You use a lot of his cooldowns, really relying on that.
Like there is high ground here, as you can see off the start of the map, but it's kind of spaced out a lot, right?
And Doomfist suffers in like open space where, like you saw it on Busan, right, where we were on board with Eileen, and he's just kind of like taking pot shots. See, inside here, this would be point B. If we do see this happen during the game, you have to get point A, point B. At the end, this would be the final portion of the map, but I don't know if there's a lot of good areas for one-shot kill potential here. Doomfist, you hit the player with a rocket punch, they go into the wall, they die. Not like it's so spread out here. It's not a great opportunity.
What if you can bait Hangzhou, Matt, into fighting you in the choke? This little car wash around the corner. Is that where you get value?
You could.
No, he's not doing it. Boo!
But, I mean, yeah. Like, you can't really bank on them falling for that.
It's nice to see Guangzhou trying to win.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Gucci's put himself in a tough spot here.
If he gets shield bashed, he's in deep trouble.
Yeah. But now he doesn't have a... Okay, so he gets back to the rest of the team. Everybody else is forced to drop down to make sure he makes it out, but...
Tons of poke damage from Shu. Hotba went to half. Eileen sourced a shield bash just to reposition there as Gucci jumps in with the counter dive. And again, you see this on defense. Teams playing Winston. See, notice that Rio jumps in. Gucci thinks about jumping in after into Rio's backline when he can't defend it. Winston isn't great at peeling. He's not very good at defending his teammates, so it's not their jobs. That's where Hotba and Ria really need to lead the way for their teams.
You see Rio just putting down some damage here, just trying to create some space so you can
They're taking too much damage.
Payload all the way through. Yeah, I mean, Hoppa will fall. So, they probably could have moved the payload over to the other side where they can get it all the way through this underpass that you're seeing them play, the Spark play the high ground on here. The issue is then the Charge are forced to play from the low ground, right? Then
Rio
jump up, but...
I'll tell you what, you're really pushing your luck there. With only 2 players, Guangzhou try and move
he was fine. He was fine. Yeah, he comes out with a 2 HP. He's good.
He survived. That's fine. 2 HP's more than 0. Oh, Godspeed Graviton. And that catches a heck of a lot of people. Very nicely timed, actually, to get so many. Happy going down to IDK means Guangzhou, I mean, it's going to be a map 5 with, like, teams being awful and great in an alternating fashion. I just feel it.
I mean, yeah, this has been one of the wackier matches we've had, to where usually if we have a series like this, you'll see signs of life from a team in one map or another. Like, this has been like the Spark non-existent in game 1. Then the Spark dominate game 2. The Charge just kind of went nowhere. And now the Charge in the last map, at least really early on here, the Spark have looked good. Maybe the Charge can make something happen, but Happy's grab goes right into Ria's defense matrix.
BEBE is gone though, Matt, and it's going to be tough for Hangzhou to have much to do without him there. Chara goes down to Godspeed here. Rio trying to go over the top, but Gucci took a huge hit. The payload though, it's not moving. It hasn't moved, in fact. So Guangzhou are using ultimates just to control high ground.
They can't go for the payload though. As weird as it sounds, the payload is the objective. They need to push them back into this back corner off of the high ground to then get to the payload, because then nobody's on the high ground.
But they still need to maintain
on the high
this
ground.
high ground control with a couple players, right? They still want maybe get a Zarya up there.
The Zarya and the Zen would be great to have up there, right? But
see, look what they can do now. They control the high ground. There's no way that the Spark can sort of drop in on them anyway that they like. Godspeed though, another grab, man. This guy's been so charged up for so long. Transcendence is nice, but it won't keep the charge alive. But you know what, man? Here, let me throw this to you. If you're Guangzhou, you say, okay, well we don't feel like we're very good on this map, but you know what we are good at? Control with Doomfist.
Yeah, but
finger guns.
I mean, maybe with that, they push the card all the way through. They could try something like a Reinhardt version of 3-3 to have, you know, the Spark at that point have to bring the offense to them. They could just kind of make claim on the payload, but still under Gibraltar, there's so much high ground.
Like if you go back to the cart now,
leave it uncontested. Yeah,
you have to take the high ground again. You can't just move to cart one spot. Like you said before, that's still an issue. The cart is rolling back this whole time.
Now I feel like you've used this grab. Who's going up there for the follow-up?
This is not.
You have nobody that can get up there really.
This doesn't look very good.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm not impressed with Guangzhou so far in this map. However, conversely, Godspeed has been a huge player for the Hangzhou Spark. As I say it, he dies, of course. As I say, I'm disappointed with Guangzhou. They win the fight.
You can extend this over. You're the Spark. You have a Primal Rage. You have a Self-Destruct. If you wanted to invest, you could. I don't know if they will, because you're not really close to any support. Oh, well, you have the Sound Barrier maybe coming online. Let's see if Gushue, he can get back into the action with a Primal Rage here.
Oh, okay. If Eileen was actually watching that right side,
he doesn't Primal.
Yeah. If Eileen was watching, he could have shield bashed Rhea and prevented him from getting overtime. Regardless, Guangzhou get point A. It was probably the least pretty I've seen so far at this stage, but they get there.
It's interesting that Gushue jumps onto the cart. Rhea comes out to the cart as well. Everybody else gets the same spawn that Rhea got, and they back out. Where maybe if you go in and you use the Primal and you use Self-Destruct, you're going to have Sound Barrier. What's worst case scenario? You use Sound Barrier, the other team uses Sound Barrier, then you have a grab. If you live through that, you're probably coming out on top of that fight. You probably could have challenged that if you're the Spark, to be honest.
They go for the safer approach here. Godspeed in grabs. So many of those so far, and this one is set up well. BEBE's in a decent position in the back line to get some damage done there. From on high, it looked like it was Shu trying to do something.
Yeah, and I think Godspeed is a player where I think if there's one like bright spot for the Spark, I feel like he's been pretty good in all of their games.
Wins or losses, I feel like
wins or losses. Yeah, he's been consistent, right? I mean, very strong Zarya. We've seen him on the Sombra as well. So this game he's crushing. I mean, he's getting a grab, about 15 seconds faster than Happy. 7 eliminations, kills off of the Graviton Surge as opposed to 0 for Happy. So
Matt, I mentioned this about Happy.
That energy.
He has the most deaths on Guangzhou right now. You know what I mean? Like, he actually has the highest rate of first deaths on Zarya in the league. And
1 death for Godspeed. I mean, just doing a nice job on that Zarya roll this matchup.
Guangzhou again, looking for more. Rio now just going to clear off that high ground and make it so that the Spark can't perch up there. Then drops them right in front of the rest of his team. So Guangzhou could start to go to work on cleaning them up here. BEBE has to use the Transcendence now, and they use it to back away.
And they use Rally as well at the same time. So they use the Transcendence to back up, does Guangzhou, and then they use the Rally on top of it. Well, you probably could have held on to one of them. If you're going to back up into the Trance, you don't exactly need the Rally. Save the Rally for an offensive play.
I guess they get the armor. They go and fight again while they still have the armor. So that is something. Not much of a consolation, though. Hotbar couldn't quite get that Self-Destruct behind the setup of the Hangzhou Spark, but it may not matter with Gushue going down. Yeah. Adora may not even escape here. Repair pack given out. Okay, there is a chance here for Hangzhou to go for a contest. Has to be about now, though, and if Chara's going to be blocking the door, there it is. Rhea comes in. This is nice. This could actually be a bit of a retake here. Hangzhou might be able to stop the charge now in their tracks. Guangzhou have to regroup, but they have to come back and fight eventually, and they walk right into Godspeed. Continuing to have a sick series, at least in maps that the Spark are winning, and looks like it's going to be the case on this one too. So far, so good for Hangzhou. They hold the charge off.
The Spark, they give up on point A. There's probably a chance they would have been able to defend if they invested some of their ults. They play the long game, though. They stop the charge before they're able to take checkpoint B.
And now it'll be their turn to go on the attack. If they can get to checkpoint B, they'll be securing a map 5 in this series. And once again, Hangzhou would be in that 5-map scenario. For Guangzhou, I mean, they're winning maps. They're pretty happy right now. They need a series, though. They have to ask, though, is this too much for us to ask to get a win? They have to be expecting that possibility in map number 5. I mean, being, 3 and 8, if I'm not mistaken, right now?
Yeah, if you're the Spark, though, you come into this match, and, it's a team that's struggling with the charge, where you didn't expect them to come in and just kind of roll over, but you're like, hey man, you know, they've lost almost a record amount of maps in a row. We can win this game, get back to 500 overall in the season. Like,
right.
You look at this match.
So if you're the Spark, you look at this match as a game you should be losing, right?
It's a huge win. I mean, you get back to 500, essentially 0-0, your season restarts, right, at this point. So I feel like it's one you gotta win. I mean, look, if you're going to be a playoff team at the end of the year, you need to win the games against the teams that are 3-8, or else you're going to have to beat somebody that's better than you. You don't want to put yourself in too many of those situations.
But if you're the Spark and you drop this series, you know, the next time you're going up against the Titans or New York and struggling
then that
for a
becomes a
playoff
win.
spot, yeah,
that becomes a win. You know, how many spots did we have last year that came down to like one game, 2 games? That you look back at some upsets like early in the season.
And
like,
Matt, there's less games in this season overall for each team, so more chance of there being teams with the same record.
Yeah, and you're like, oh man, if we would have won that one game early on in a game 5, or like one, and it was like teams that were separated by like one map or one game that had like a game 5 series against each other to win the other way. You never know.
And remember, like Philadelphia just snuck into the season playoffs and made it all the way to the finals in the end. Right?
Yeah.
They were an outside chance and they stepped up, and the field is open for anyone who can just get themselves into.
You just got to get in.
Season.
You get in and you have a chance, right? So
I like this from Hangzhou, Matt. Play it pretty safe. Go with the Reinhardt here. Force Guangzhou to opt into a mirror match and try and grind them out here. I mean, if you win a fight, you know, here in this underpass, you're feeling very, very good. Now, here's the part of the fight where the Zaryas try and find a pickoff that's out of position and lays them down real fast, or spend a lot of time churning into enemy Reinhardt shields.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Zaryas just, you know, lobbing in those grenades, right? The alternate fires. Nice job, though. They actually have Rhea go from the other side. They trap them in this little area. Now the Charge have to try and back out.
I mean, the Charge were the ones who chose to back away, but if you're a Zenyatta, if you're Shu and Rhea's behind you, you are absolutely
Really nice,
going to go into the side room. Great little rotation, little pincer from Hangzhou that forced Guangzhou to literally stand inside a little box room, and that is not good if you're going up against Reinhardt, Zarya, and the like.
Yeah, that play, as soon as the Sparks see everybody down there, Rhea goes to the high ground. All he has to do is put pressure on the Shu. He's going to push into the team. Everybody then is collapsed in a very small area. Nothing you can do.
Early damage trade's good here for Hangzhou. That really unloads straight away on the Charge, who are just trying to get some footing now. Guangzhou would love a big Earth Shatter right now, but this is not the time to be using it. Oh, they get there anyway. The Graviton Surge pulls the Charge off the payload. Godspeed. He's done it again, Matt. What an absolute mad lad.
Oh, and we're investing shatters into this on both sides. Like, we're trying to fight here. Is Godspeed with 2 more limbs. I mean, they use their grabs at the same time. He's like, what, 50% to Happy's 27, as he has been dominant here in our final, potentially, well, what could have been our
24
final
eliminations,
match,
7 final blows, 1 death. Absolutely cranking the damage out.
10 kills off of his Graviton Surges to 1 for Happy. I mean, Happy with 6 eliminations total, 0 final blows to Godspeed 7. Yeah. So really in the Zarya matchup. And look, when teams are going to play this much triple support, triple tank, when you have 2 Zaryas that are putting up stats so heavily different than each other, you're going to see the team with a better Zarya on top. Guangzhou with a big shatter there.
There is the shatter that was promised. Guangzhou, he lays it down. He gets Shu, the Charge.
Where is everybody?
They got deleted from the game.
Our observers probably saw everybody go downstairs like, no, don't go there, don't go there.
Well, Matt, this has been a very weird series. Back and forth. Maps won, and there's no way the Charge are getting into the payload. You know, not really much to say there. A very one-sided map on Gibraltar, and the Spark have secured themselves yet another map 5 to play through. They've shown us that they're very good at playing those map 5s, Matt, even when they're very much behind. But will they face the wrath of Eileen's Doomfist after the break? We'll find out in just a moment.
into the iris.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a match devoid of rhyme or reason so far, at least in the lead up to this map 5 now. The Hangzhou Spark, the Guangzhou Charge, they've just been trading blows, man. Trading maps. Neither of them look good at all. In fact, okay, they look terrible on maps they're losing, both these teams.
If the Spark can figure out how to deal with Doomfist, they will win this 5th map. The only maps they have lost, they've just gotten rolled by Doomfist. My main man Crystal coming back in for game 5, coming in for Adora. So you expect, the Brigade to play that Adora brings, maybe some more damage dealers in the mix as well. But the only time we have seen the Spark not look phenomenal, like they have crushed the maps we have not seen Doomfist play. It's just been the games that the Charge have brought in Doomfist really been an issue. They've no way to respond.
I want to see if City Center is up first, because I think that's a map where Doomfist probably has a little bit more Ooh, okay, this is...
Okay, so we saw them play this against Boston. They ran the Bastion here.
They did Crystal Bastion on the high ground.
Oh, it was nasty.
This is... I guess Doomfist feels good here, right? If you want to play that. Maybe they go the Sombra instead, Eileen, but...
Well, they
I think
should
Hangzhou
know.
are better against that comp.
They should know. Like, the Spark put this lineup out against Boston and ran this exact set in that match. It was last week. You should know what's going to happen here.
Well, let's see if they've watched the tape, Matt.
Oh, I'll be upset with the Charge. You ain't watching the tape.
So, Crystal on the high ground. The point is to get this robotic menace into a position either here or on the high ground. He sets up here initially. He doesn't want to overextend. I don't know if you really put him on the low ground.
All right, cool adjustment here. Farah, Wrecking Ball, Sombra, and Hangzhou come out.
Wrecking Ball very durable. Farah, no damage fall off on those rockets from long range, so you can pressure down Gush's shield.
Tons of poke. Tons of poke.
It's all about
poke and poke.
It's all about making sure the Bastion has no protection. But Rio got caught by Godsby hacked there.
And that'll be, I think, the issue that they would run into if they run into one, where the Wrecking Ball needs to get into place, needs to displace, push people around, pile drive. If Rio constantly gets hacked and can't use the adaptive shield, he's going to get hacked again. They will have trouble trying to create space, trying to create chaos.
Listen, don't forget, Godsby is experienced in this matchup, having to go up against RCK map after map after map in a Sombra mirror match the last time Hangzhou played. And eventually he got the better of him, arguably. So there it is, Crystal finding Happy, and Guangzhou are trying to work in through this map over the edges. Now, that's another Resurrect from Chara, but at what point are you answering this Bastion? BEBE is low, Godsby's taking some damage, but Gushue has a shield. He's protecting Crystal, and that's what's important. Right now, Ria's sleeping underneath the high ground. He's just been working up now, but you can't capitalize on that.
Yeah,
there's a Bastion on Overwatch.
I mean, they're just hiding. Like where are they going to come in?
You are so... Okay, that's a pretty big shot. They're getting rid of Crystal. There is no mercy on the side of the Spark, so they don't bring the Bastion back as some teams have tried to do.
So maybe you can get something here. What does Eileen decide to do here? He can go back and actually hack Crystal coming back and try and spawn camp him. But it looks like he's actually just kind of play underneath the point.
Crystal will have Godsby... No, actually Godsby and Crystal split off there. So I thought he might be escorted out. That would be kind of cool, right? Make the play. Just spawn camp the Bastion. You definitely win that 1v1.
Nano Bastion.
Oh my. Okay. Gets knocked out of his sentry mode there. Has to go back to recon, which means Crystal's damage is greatly reduced during this period. Now back into sentry mode. Rio, he has to leave very quickly. He cannot hang around. Happy trying to take the head-to-head with Crystal at long range. I mean, you feel good about that as Hangzhou, but...
Rio dies off the side, so you can't even res him. And then we're already at 94%.
The Bastion, man, absolute menace. And Crystal, again, dominating on this map. Another team that just doesn't know how to break it. Guangzhou didn't bring any of the sort of Doomfist here, which I understand on this map. You can... that's quite reasonable. Oasis in general, I mean, maybe only really one stage is very good for it, being university.
I would love to know you know, it's a very slow map right there. The Hangzhou Spark win that with only doing 6,000 damage. That's kind of like, that's extremely low for a team. I mean, there's only 12 deaths total on the map. It's a really like slow first game.
It's 9 kills, right?
So yeah, it's really slow. I mean, you had 9 deaths for the charge and only 3 for the spark. So
no, it's like 150.
Right.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
So this is what okay, adjustment here out of the spark. This is good to see. Sombra pretty good against Doomfist. Doomfist gets hacked, has no abilities, no movement. That's where you're able to take advantage. Can't take advantage when he just dives in, insta kills BEBE, and then backs on out. But
oh my gosh, Eileen.
Oh, they're
Gooseway doesn't know which way his head is screwed on. IDK over the edge. See ya.
I was hyping up the Sombra as the answer.
Well, in theory, it could.
It is, and I mean, Doom is very susceptible to stuns, right? So you think Brigitte, you think like McCree, like Roadhog, right? No characters that can like CC stun, make you immobile. Because Doomfist's cooldown's very powerful, right? He gains no shield when he connects, but they're also his only source of real movement.
Just watch Eileen as he goes in, because the reason why he's not getting stunned when he hits the ground is this bubble. See that bubble Hotbar gives him? No one can stop him. So he goes in there, he'll always get a little bit of extra health or a little bit of overshield for doing some damage.
Can't get the hack
and he
down.
just gets out.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, you can't hack him like that either. You need to sort of see Eileen coming, and he's not giving him that chance because he's hiding over a wall.
And I mean, they get a hack on him here, but you're already down 3 players.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the impact has already been felt, right? Doomfist, if you can get that 1 kill, if you can get 2 kills, so like get 1 kill, then trade out for a second, then you know.
If I'm Godspeed, I seriously think about going back towards the spawn and trying to hack him again coming out and really like trying to get this early pick off, but he backs off towards his team. You do have an EMP, so maybe you try and bait them. When Eileen comes in on the Doomfist, EMP as he flies in, and then you can take advantage of it. So let's see, there's the player getting knocked up by the Doom. He's going to rotate around.
I mean, Eileen has the armor now from Happy as well. Even more durable when he tries to go in. Godspeed, he's trying to make sure everyone's pushed out.
Are they trying? Here's the EMP, but
you go for it now. Yeah, you get
go.
Doomfist, you get Zaya, and you get the Reinhardt, but you don't get Shoot. I think Godspeed has to be happy with that, Matt. He just has to accept that's as good as it's going to get. The grab follow-up is pretty nice now. The Transcendence has been forced out of Shu. But Hopper went for a grab himself, which didn't really hit the mark.
And you're like, hey, where's this follow-up going to be? For the Spark, you had a bunch of people stuck in the Graviton Surge that came out from Hotba. IDK goes on the flank, connects with 2 players. But you still do have 87% on the board here for the charge.
Yeah, double kills in map 5. Something that IDK seems to just be able to switch on whenever he needs to. Guangzhou are pretty close. They're making this 1-1 apiece now. I mean, they don't have much to work with in ultimates, though. Eileen needs a pick. So Hopper really needs to get a bubble on this guy. Eileen always has a get out of jail free card in the form of his Meteor Strike to escape. Look at the damage on. Look at the burst. Front-loaded damage on Gooseway. This could hurt as well. Gooseway needs to get his shield turned where it needs to be. Where is Eileen trying to go? He's getting out. He's already lost his teammates. There's one downside, Matt, to Meteor Strike. You actually have to leave the battle for a few seconds.
If they can force him to switch off of this, though, I mean, that's all, honestly, that's all I was worried about. If you're like a Spark fan coming in this final game, if they can get Eileen off of the Doomfist, like we saw in that first point, they were crushing. They crushed on all the other maps that he didn't play the Doom. Eileen's going to stay on it. I think if you're the charge, you have to know, like, this is your only chance of...
Yeah, I don't think you try and mix it up, because anything else is too slow, especially if you lose this fight. They're going to walk in with an EMP here if Godspeed can have his way. Okay, notice that he actually waited until Happy was back around the corner, so there was no risk of him getting shield bashed out of it. Okay, hack. There it is, on towards Eileen. Now getting hit with a fair bit of damage. Rhea is down to Shu, though, and the Spark have to sort of back up as they're fighting. Transcendence now should try and push them forward, but Rio, that shatter, caught Godspeed, which I don't think he was aiming for. I think Godspeed was just incidentally caught by that one while it was invisible. Eileen trying to go for the combo once more. Takes Gooseway low enough that he's forced to leave the point. Hangzhou might actually have to allow the charge to retake this one for the time being. We'll see. Eileen seemed to have been caught out in the open. He gets away. Earthshatter gets 2. Chara and Hotbar both caught by that one. Shu had the Transcendence here immediately to respond. Eileen taken down, though. Rio got him. Big Graviton Surge here. Shu and Rio doing their very best, but it's not going to be enough here. They tried. The Doomfist. But it isn't enough. Finally, the Spark wise up. They figure out a way to play around it, and of course they get given Oasis, which is not a map where Doomfist looks great all of the time. The Spark weather the storm. That was brutal. Look at this, like 0-2, 2-0, 1-2, 2-1, 2-0. That is about as back and forth as it gets.
It is not a pretty series for the Spark. You know, their wins were great, their losses were brutal, but hey, you get to 500, you get to 5-5 overall on the season. I mean, now you're in serious. You can make a run. If you're the Spark, you've won this. You've gotten back to 500. You know you can do it. You're putting yourself in a position where you could make a season-long playoff run.
Clean slate is what the Spark required from them. I mean, that match was anything but clean, but they have a chance to start thinking about how they get into the green. That positive record is what they're looking for.
And for the Charge, it's a brutal loss, right? You know, you had that long losing streak in terms of how many maps in a row.
You came close, map 5, man.
You came all the way down to the wire. You had some great Doomfist play from Eileen, just not enough.
Tough stuff now going forward. And, I mean, the possibility of a spot in playoffs for this stage is not looking good for Guangzhou. But for Hangzhou, I want to hear a little bit more about how they're feeling. And for that, we're going to head down to Emily with Gushwei.
Thank you guys. I'm here with Gusha. Congratulations on your win tonight. 恭喜你们再次拿下今天的比赛。You know, I want to know, with Crystal now added to your lineup, is communication better? Has it improved? 那么自从 Crystal 开始跟你一起上场，你觉得沟通来讲方便了一些吗？
我觉得沟通是会方便一点，因为紧急的时候，比如不知道这句话怎么说嘛，就可以跟他中文沟通。
Yeah, communication has definitely improved because there's sometimes when you can't think of the right terms to use, and so he'll use Mandarin, and it just makes life a lot easier. You know, on Sunday, we have the play of the week, which is the match of the week, when you guys are going to go against the San Francisco Shock. So how are you guys preparing for that? 那么周日呢，你们会面对三藩震动队。那么你有没有一些针对性的打法呢